Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to our subscriber game tournament as we continue with round 2 with match 9 against Bananafishbones. And since this is our 9th matchup, after this match, the lowest score participant so far would be eliminated from the tournament. So this is quite a crucial matchup here. And just as a reminder, of the first 8 contestants, 4 beat me, with time varying from around 4 minutes and 50 seconds to about 19 minutes and 20 seconds. And 4 fell to me, dealing casualties from around 128 to roughly 216, I believe is currently the highest casualty numbers. So that should give you a framework at what we're looking at for this fight. Now before we dive into it, we can see that our opponent here has brought Vengeful, tier 3. So Vengeful obviously has the Xieju Roar for 30-point morale, 4 uses, very powerful. As a general, not unbreakable, but the weapon is actually quite strong, so very combat ready. Being a champion means you have a lot of hit points, and Vengeful actually has pretty high armor as well. Then looking at the other generals, we have Huang Fusong, who is bringing hail of arrows and a lot of really good units, also has a bow if he wants to use it, and then Cao Ren, who can provide a heal actually. It's an odd choice, but perhaps it will be useful. The thing about this heal is the extreme long cooldown, so unless he intends to play out the match, with a lengthy matchup, this is not really going to come into play. He will be able to give his unit Stone Boric to prevent them from taking range damage. And speaking of units, all his units are on the left side. I can see most of them in the deployment because he kept most of them in the open. And he also brought a Defender of Earth. Now, by this point, I knew what these guys could do. But even though I saw his deployment like this, I can't rush up to go kill them, because he kept a Tiger's Cub nearby, a melee cav, to sort of tank up the towers. Actually, that's their job. It's an interesting tactic. I think this is kind of gambling, because the tower will find the nearest target, of course, and try to fire them. And the way he has things placed, it's not very clear who is the nearest target. Melee cavalry with their 50% resistance to all missile damage is quite good at tanking up towers. Not perfect. You can see the arrows going out in the air as I pause the game. He also kept the Ye Vanguard Spearmen behind, and the logic here is pretty smart. They have crossbow damage, they're also a spear unit. If I charge out with the general, he can just pull them back. They can be in formation, or they can just sit here and brace and just shoot the crossbow damage as I approach, which is going to hurt me quite a bit because of the armor piercing damage. Very, very high armor piercing damage, I might add. And then also, if I pull my aggro on this unit and I over chase, I could bump into brace spears, dismounting me. Very dangerous to charge out. So unlike the previous matchup where we ran into Defender of Earth, I did not choose to charge my generals out with guerrilla deployment, just because it would have been far too risky to get myself tangled up over here, which means we have to take the damage. Now the bright side is, there is no strategist, and I think I knew that. I think Huang Fusong was, they're visible. Huang Fusong's not visible, but okay, maybe Cao Ren's also not visible. But Vengeful was visible. I didn't see any siege weapons, so I assumed there was no siege weapons. So this was going to be another wall scaling attack, which might actually be without towers this time. So we'll see how that goes. As for other units from behind, the ones that are actually going to climb walls, we have Imperial units all around. Imperial Sword Guards. We have Imperial Palace Crossbowmen, 2 of them. Imperial Gate Guards. Defender of Empire, Unbreakable, Turtle Formation. The problem here... It must have something to do with his general choices. No strategists and no formations. No turtle. Interesting. Yeah, because technically Imperial Sword Guard can also turtle if they have the proper comp. Cao Ren doesn't give formations. This is extremely unfortunate. Now, all commanders typically give formations. I believe Cao Ren and Lady Bian because he was added in with his unique model on the final DLC, and the patch support ended, so his status, I believe, in the system still doesn't give formations. Because if you remember, Tauren wasn't a commander. Was he? I don't think. Yeah, I think he's just not coded as a commander in the game. That might be what's going on. That's a huge loss now that he has no turtle on any of his units. I mean, it's his responsibility to test out his comp. And that's going to be interesting to observe. But let's observe. Alright, all my units on this side. Look at one volley. Not even all the arrows hit. Immediate 100%. It's absolutely nuts. And at this point, I'm like, I gotta do something. Because he's gotta move up to hit me. I gotta do something. I'm getting shot by the crossbow. I have to kite. I can't charge straight. For charge straight, I get killed. So we're just gonna poke around. Range block chance being kicked in. So that helps. That takes care of a lot of the issue. And I'm just trying to kite across. I can't really approach this. Everyone's pretty elite here. And there goes that tower. As long as he can keep this unit alive, all my towers are gone. 25 on the top layer, 63 on... just burns so fast. Now he just got to get one volley in over here, and this one's done too. Because this bottom tier is going to burn, which is going to spread to the top tier. He doesn't even need to continue to fire. This is overkill. But he's going to overkill anyways, and that's over 50. He's keeping his general behind. I put it in the forest so that I force him to look for me inside. So he can't put a charge on me. And once they commit it inside, he has to click again to attack me. And I am going to kite out, actually. Hopefully. There we go. And this is the opening I was waiting for. And I bumped into a unit, which was not good, but thankfully from behind. And no formation was on it. I'm getting hit by some crossbow shots, but there's friendly fire, so they're stopping that one. See, without turtle, the shield wall is facing the wrong way to knock me off. And then he moved it, which was strange. Oh, the fire. Oh my god. I gotta stop this unit. And this tower hasn't get shot yet. I used Dragon's Gaze because he doesn't have a strategist to stop me from using it. And I slammed. And there are 7 units. He's using the heal to try to keep them alive. It does heal quite a bit of health, but if the unit already died, they cannot get healed, right? These 6 will heal their health if they're damaged. But the rest cannot. I pulled back because I didn't want to get killed. The Dragon Gates at least freeze everyone for a few seconds. And I think the damage is done. He should be readjusting their fire to hit me, but they're not. So thankfully, this tower is still up, getting shot now. 13%. This is 13% per arrow. It's insane. I think if I'm playing campaign in the future, once I hit Emperor, then I'm always going to bring one of these with one Trebuchet, because Trebuchet hit walls, they hit towers so much more efficient and weatherproof. I'm just trying to hold out. I cannot do anything about their crossbow fire. They killed all my towers, and the best thing I can do is hug the wall, right? These wall will actually protect me a little bit, but I'm still going to sit here until he kills all of me, but I'm doing something. I can't overcommit because he still has units. Especially this one behind with a square. He's trying to use this to protect his range, and I know he's doing that, but I have to go for it, right? I can't just sit here and let his 240 elite Imperial crossbow unit shred my units on the wall. So we're going to sacrifice ourselves. The good thing is their range is actually quite low, 160. The square should be moved up. But unfortunately, he realized it, but because he's moving it, they're not firing. I'm also microing Nubu out in the front to draw his attention, so he cannot, give the proper command to save those units. Nubu's going to sacrifice a little bit of health. Freeze the units up front just to give him some stalling. We're going to plug up the unit here. We're losing health, but we're doing damage. We got to kill these crossbowmen. So pop them back right out. Nubu's safe. And we did as much as we kind of could here, and I'm trying to pull them out for another charge. I don't want them to get dragged into a melee fight against spear units. That will kill me. Their units have landed, and fatigue is once again a huge factor. So I have fresh units against fatigue units. Should be fine. Their generals did not attempt a climb, which is good, but he is going to roar on me. So if I take too much damage and lose too much morale, I will get destroyed. I think one mistake being made here is for Bananafishbone. He should have committed 3 generals into my cavalry. He needed to kill that, because then he has basically 240 very powerful crossbow units that can just rain all their ammo at me, and that would just be way too much casualty for me to handle. I thought he was going to climb, so I dismounted, and after seeing he's not going to commit his general to the wall, I have another chance to perhaps go out and do some damage. I'm keeping him in the back because he put his square right next to them. I don't have an opening here. I got to kill about half of them, so that helps a little bit. A roar has been used, but my morale is still high enough. And I'm coming out. I didn't issue a charge, so I didn't get dismounted. I just basically walked him up close. And as the enemy general come, it's a rough situation. I want to help out my units outside, but I also don't want to lose too much health. So that's a tough balancing act. I'm trying to get the slam down, get a couple kills, and then just run back, wait for cooldowns inside. Now, as I run back, the gate's actually going to be open as I move through. There's a chance for enemy general to follow me through it, but so far that hasn't happened. And one thing about moving this unit up is, well, I'm trying to move. I'm going to try to tempt this unit to actually hit my units on the wall, because they're getting close to that range. So once he uses up his ammo, you can see they're shooting. If he uses up his ammo, which he doesn't have a lot of, then he's useless in terms of protecting them. So I'm drawing their attention away to hit me in the forest. There's a, I think, 25% chance of decreasing range damage in the forest. So I'm just trying to, or increase range block chance. Just trying to draw out some fire so they're not hitting my units on the wall. I have crushed the infantry that have, marched up because of the fatigue factor. And I believe this unit is too far away. He didn't get the bonus. There's no other Imperial units nearby. They're too far. That's another issue. They're back. Bomb arrows back and firing. I basically am using the wall to protect myself. And there's not much his generals can do. Hail of Arrow would have been useful. He probably could have committed him up here and maybe shot a Hail of Arrow down the wall. No one has tried that. The crossbow's back at work. This is painful. The arc is really, really good, which doesn't make sense for crossbow units from a physics perspective, but in the game, you can see my units getting picked off, and there's nothing I can really do about this. I have no answers for this. So eventually, as this unit starts bleeding his range, this is the problem. Right? Once I see this unit runs out, ooh, Ventral came up, and Ribu answers. He runs away. This is actually pretty smart. And he's able to slam down and kill off this Protector Heaven right here. Now, I don't understand why the fire stops sometimes. That's where I'm confused. I think, like, when I engage in melee with some of his units, you think about friendly fire, and then he stops shooting, because these are his units, right? These are routing units. Alright, so he decides to move them up a little closer. I'm just waiting for these last ammo to get fired. I'm trying to stretch them as thinly across the wall as possible to hug the front to make sure they don't get shot by these. Right, just trying to get as much protection as we can. And he's keeping more units in the back just to protect them, which is really smart. Ventral's trying to climb back up. Now, John L's even on the wall, because why not? And we saw him coming up, and we're going to solo him. Now, is this a fair fight? With our evasion boost, it's a fair fight because he can't hit me. He has like the lowest base hit percentage, which I think is 4% in the game. So basically, he's not going to be able to hit me. And it's free damage. Even though it's low, it's free damage. Libu's gone out again to use, more Dragon's Gates. Now I know he has a general up here. The gate opened and he slipped in, which actually splits his army. So I'm trying to kill the crossbow unit right now with Libu, because I know the damage is just painful. I can't really commit my cavalry with their setup. I don't want to lose more units, because that's part of the win condition too. So this is another interesting moment, because Taurian could have gone for the flag, but he didn't. And Libu was going to come back and be able to fight Taurian one-on-one because the gate's closed. He captured it for a moment too. Oh, Hail of Arrow. You can see it just doesn't work. He had it aimed on Libu. Cavalry should be going in. Right? Cavalry should be going in. The gate's open. He's controlling the gate right now. He didn't realize this. The cavalry's not being committed. Alright. He's finally moved this unit away. I have my opportunities very soon. They're running out of ammo. The Huangfu's in a solo fight. I know he just used Hell Arrow, so he doesn't have it. No formations on the crossbow unit came in, right? Crossbow unit's not going to really help. I pulled the infantry back to plug up the bridge. But then once I saw he didn't go for it, I just went out to recapture the gate. He pulled his unit. No ammo on the square, so the square is not offensive. And we can take out all his range. He realized it. There's really good micro movements too, but a little too late. And at the same time, Ventral died to John out on the wall because of the evasion boost. Big difference. Ripu is fighting 1v2, but these two are not exactly the strongest generals in the game. A Sentinel and a Commander both using the same sword, I believe. It's a low damage sword that, you know, John Ao has as well. It just does. Look at the health dip. 2 hits from Ripu. And we're going to chase him to make sure he doesn't bounce back. I don't want him to like bounce back in a random place. And then we have to watch out for hail of arrows. The cavalry made it. The square is being pulled. And the square should be diving into this unit, but they're not giving that command yet. I am taking the rope because I didn't have this unit on guard mode for some reason, I guess. And they were trying to chase these... some unit over here. Oh, maybe they're being committed over here. We don't have control of the gate, so they took the ropes basically, and that's gonna fatigue them. That was not good. But I do have assist from cavalry. I'm gonna wait till they collide, and once they do collide, we will hit them from behind. The morale, you know, because army loss kicked in. Generals all died inside, not surprisingly. And then we end up having a lone Imperial unit stuck inside with us, and this unit with lower morale has routed. And that would do it. Once that unit fully routes... Oh, no. We have a 3-stranded, unbreakable infantry. And we're going to charge up our units to cleave them. General's helping in. Last guy get killed right here. Two guys right here. Both die instantly. Here, still standing. Not anymore. And it was a tough fight all across the field. He got a little opening chasing the bull through the door, and that was interesting. He actually captured the gate for a moment. I feel like if he had gone for this point, which is not protected by towers, by the way, he could have put more pressure. I would have had to send my generals back. Maybe his units could pour in at that point, but it didn't happen. The cavalry was very patient. I was able to take out most of his range. I feel like if he didn't climb walls and waited for his Imperial crossbowmen to finish their ammo, I couldn't do anything about that, right? He had the proper defense from behind. I can't charge the cavalry through there. And if his infantry held the front and the back, where in the front there's a formation, if he had spear wall. If you spear wall the front where my general cannot come out without getting knocked off their horse, and then, you know, block the back from the cavalry, and just patiently waited for his crossbowmen to finish all their, you know, 50 plus ammo to hit the units on the wall. It doesn't even matter, you know, whether they can kill all of them. Just do as much damage as you can at that point, and proceed from there. But maybe he felt compelled to rush a little bit, given this is a time-constrained fight. But, you know, once you commit to the climb, your advantage kind of evaporates. It was bloody on the wall. If we look at the numbers, I think Bananafishbone actually did plenty of damage. So let's take a look. Alrighty. Lendrel got a couple of slams on the wall, I believe. And if we look at the total kill count, 14 on the cavalry. They did quite well, weakening the crossbow units who did massive damage. And they probably could have done way more if he was just a bit more patient with them. And looking at the total count, 14 here. Oh, almost complete wipe over here. 87 unit, I believe, over here. So 87, 14, we're looking at 101. This is 39, so 140, 160. This is 73, 160, 73, 233. So 233 would put Bananafishbone currently at 5th. The most kills in a defeat. So he's sitting pretty with only 4 more contestants behind him. Not entirely safe, as those 4 could squeeze him off the list, but that's going to make him in a pretty comfortable position. And at the same time, this means that PKM, who is the 4th fastest time in completion, will actually clinch his spot in the final 8, as there's not enough contestants left to push him off the top 8. Now, he might not end up 4th, as I predict someone will beat me in the final 4 matchups, but we're going to see. And we're going to return tomorrow with the next one. So until then, bye!